So here is the second attempt at making a good gluten-free cornbread. Again, you know, I really like Famous Dave's cornbread mix. You just slap it together and it comes out great every time, but it contains gluten. So we have this recipe from a friend who works over at the co-op, and we're just going to give it a try. I have here a cube of butter, which is the equivalent of a half a cup. And I've melted it, mostly.
It'll work.
Yeah, it'll work fine. All we're going to do is mix it with sugar. And you know, an awful lot of good things start by mixing butter
and sugar.
Butter with sugar.
Especially cookies.
It's a recipe for love right there. So I have a quarter of a cup of coconut sugar, which, us being us, we just happen to have in the cupboard. And I'm going to use a quarter of a cup of agave syrup. This sweetener can be anything. It could be honey, it could be maple syrup. And I'm thinking, you know, a mix of agave and maple syrup would be really good. But I'm just keeping it a little simple here. And just going with the agave.
We pulled the agave out of the liquor cabinet, so.
And I would, yeah, that's where it belongs.
Yeah.
This is tequila's little cousin right here.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so we're taking the butter and the sugars, and we're going to mix, mix, mix. Okay, so that's looking pretty good right there. And then we're going to add 2 eggs.
Ooh, good job.
And a cup of buttermilk, which we had to buy specifically for this recipe.
It was nice to be able to buy
It's not like we
like a really small container too, so that we don't have a gallon of it.
And so, there are ways to create something like buttermilk with lemon juice and milk, and you could Google that if you're up a creek here and you need to make some buttermilk quick. The thing is that we bought the buttermilk before we went to Mexico for almost 3 weeks, and I'm like, oh, I gotta make this cornbread because. And Kelly looked at the expiration date on buttermilk and she said, "Well, you got all year."
No, not quite all year, but there was plenty of time. The sell-by date was way out there.
Okay, so here we go in also with a half a cup of almond flour. Almond flour is really cool stuff. I mean, it tastes like almonds. It's just ground up almonds. And 1 cup of cornmeal. And I need to mix this all together. Mix, 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 mix. Oh yeah, we're not done.
I was pointing.
Kelly's reminding me that there's a couple of ingredients out here that haven't been used yet.
Well, if anybody's ever done baking and forgotten something like
you
baking powder and
Yeah.
your whole thing gets screwed up, it happens.
So this is a tablespoon of arrowroot. So arrowroot flour, arrowroot starch, they're all the same thing. It's basically arrowroot flour. And a teaspoon of baking powder.
Make sure your baking powder isn't old. We don't use it all up usually, and you know, replace it once in a while.
It does help to have it be a little.
We had some
fresh
recipe
light.
that was a fail because our baking powder was old. So check the date.
And a half a teaspoon of salt. I don't know how often this happens to you, but we used up all our salt, and this is a brand new container.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah. It's like, it's happened to us a couple times in our relationship, so.
We used up all the salt.
Yeah, when you think about it, that's kind of rare. Salt just lasts forever.
But wait a minute, there's a lot of salt in our relationship, but it isn't the kind that you put in your cornbread.
Okay, so this just all has to get mixed really well because, you know, it's nothing worse than that lump of baking powder that...
What temp is your oven at?
The oven is at 350 and it's ready. And this is going to bake for 25 minutes. You know, give or take.
What is that, a piece of sugar over there? A little brown chunk?
Should be.
It's
the only brown stuff there is in there. So, all right. So this is going to go into a square 8x8 greased baking pan. It looks proper.
Yeah, it looks perfect.
You know, the cornbread mixes all say, don't mix it too much. And this is pretty darn smooth. I'm hopeful.
Okay.
That's good enough. I'm not really a left-handed whisker, but if I use my right hand, then it gets in the way.
It's all
of the
hand in the
camera.
video.
All right, so this is going to go in the oven for 25 minutes. We'll check it. It might go a little longer, but we'll see what we get. So I made an error. I meant to stop and recheck my recipe and make sure that I was doing it right, and I did not do that. I just went right into the oven. So I realized it in time. You know, this batter isn't even heated up yet at all, and so I am going to add to this 1 more tablespoon of arrowroot and 1 more teaspoon of baking powder. And it's really worth taking it out and doing it again, because
It wouldn't work.
if you're missing stuff like baking powder from your recipe, it's not going to work.
So it's a total of 2.
So 2 tablespoons of arrowroot and 2 teaspoons of baking powder.
Anybody notice that new shirt? That's a pretty fancy new shirt we just bought in Mexico from the Sagalita Shirt Company. My fancy man. Okay.
All right, and then
Typical kitchen mess.
we'll whisk this about. Whisk is this about? Put it back in our pan.
Don't worry, put up the stuff, we'll clean that up. Oh, there it is, your spatula's right there.
I got it. Just have to. Yeah, it's not my spatula hand.
You know.
But
Okay.
you know, one of these days maybe I'll be
We
ambidextrous.
should wipe this off the edge right here. If you can do that. Because, you know,
That'll
it's just going to burn on
that'll be
there.
that nice dark umami thing that
Whoops.
happens.
Okay. Now go into the oven. Okay, close.
Yeah.
For
25 minutes.
you got to reset your timer.
I'm going to.
This
All right.
happens when you're cooking.
So here we go. Now we have the correct mixture in our pan, and we go into the oven. And we reset the timer for 25 minutes. Okay. All right, let's see what we have here. Oh, look at.
Oh,
So
it's a little
still, but it's getting close. I'm gonna put it back in for that 5 minutes that it said it might need. Usually I'd cook cornbread at 400, so
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I'm not surprised that it's taking a little, but we'll just see what happens. All right, so now we've been 30 minutes in here. Oh, look at this.
Now it's looking
Look
better.
at the top of it and everything. Oh, it's firm. I think that's our thing right there.
Looks pretty good. Oh, yeah, that actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, let's.
Oily.
It's supposed to have several minutes to rest here, so let's let it do that. And it puffed up a little, not a lot,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll just
We'll see.
We'll see what we have. All right, so this cornbread it's definitely cooked. It cuts beautifully with the knife. It feels, it has a nice little sponge. Nice sponge.
No soggy bottom.
It seems a little dense,
It's kind of flat, but
and yes, it didn't rise up and stand up for the light or whatever.
that's some sort of reggae thing.
Yeah, it is. So now my knife's too hot for the butter.
Yep.
Um,
Oh, you're making this. Okay.
hey, not too bad.
Looks good though.
I've made worse messes.
Okay, it's fine. It looks perfect, actually.
So this right here is what we made. It's cornbread with butter. It's the perfect thing. All right. So it's a little dense. It's not as dense as the first one we made. It tastes really good. This one's fine. I'd like to figure out a way to get more air in there.
Which I really was telling Matthew about using a metal pan versus glass, and we don't have an 8x8 metal.
I don't think
It's a thing.
But
Trust me.
I want air in the batter.
I know, but trust me, is the thing about the baking consistency.
So we're having this with a stew, and when I have cornbread with a stew, and
Or anything.
really this is why I'm on this mission to find a really good gluten-free cornbread, because that's the one thing that I miss. I'll make a gumbo, put cornbread in it. I'll make a curry of some sort, put cornbread in it. Here we have this Jamaican stew. I just want to put cornbread in it. So,
You made the stew to go with the cornbread. I know you did.
well, I kind of did, yeah. So
Okay.
anyway, there you have it. Thanks for watching Two Cooks in the Kitchen. Come with us on all our adventures. Subscribe. Find us on Facebook. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.